What is going on, YouTube? PPS here, past the prop time, coming at you guys for some Monday Night Football plays. And we're going to obviously talk about Week 10 overall. Joined as always by my guy, Stu. What's good, man?
Yeah, nothing much, man. I mean, I think we're coming off the best week of football we've had all season right there. I mean, it was competitive game after competitive game. We see the young stars kind of taking those next steps with CJ and the Texans. And then obviously we just got some great matchups. The Lions-Chargers was great, especially if you're a prop better. Obviously, you most likely cash some overs in that one. Just a lot of good games this weekend. The kind of week that makes it okay and acceptable to have a Panthers versus Bears primetime game. Because if you didn't have these kind of weeks, then no one would be sticking around for those Thursdays. So for me, definitely enjoyed this weekend. It's not done yet, though. We got another pretty solid game. I know a lot of the primetime games have been pretty rough, but I think this will be enjoyable, at least from a TV perspective tonight.
Yeah, dude, I'm happy the NFL shipped the team they shipped to Germany, bro. That shit was ass. That game sucked. Guess what? I don't even have to wake up for it. Thank you. Putting it at 8:30. Nobody wanted to watch that. I couldn't even, dude. I look at my phone like 2 hours later, game's over. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of what I expected. Was 9 total passes, and just continuing running the ball downhill, trying to score. I'm like, how do you, dude? Everybody's talking all this stuff on Zach Wilson, and I mean, some of it's deserved, but where's the Mac Jones hate, bro? Like, I know there's some, but it's not even in the same realm, bro.
Yeah.
Not even in the same realm.
I think it's just a media thing because people, I mean, it's like New York is the media capital of the world. And Zach Wilson is bad, or I guess this was true before last year. Zach Wilson was bad in a funny way. This year, Mac Jones actually has been bad in a funny way as well with all those pick sixes. So that's a fair point. I mean, he's been benched. I would assume he's benched permanently. I would hope so. Maybe I'm wrong right there. Patriots fans, I'm sure, are rolling their eyes like you just did right there, because how many times have we seen Mac Jones benched? I will say this is the only time that we've seen it happen in a competitive game, right, where the backup actually had a chance to win. Every other one of those benchings was like a 30-0, the game's already over kind of thing. So this actually could be the first step at Bailey Zappi being the quarterback. The problem is that even a good thing? Like, the guy was cut before the season started, right? Like, Bill Belichick didn't even want this guy as the backup. Malik Cunningham was their backup for one of these games officially. So to me, that's a little concerning as well, that Bailey Zappi's kind of sucked in practice, or at least something's going on behind the scenes. So tough time to be a Patriots fan out there. But yeah, shout out to all the people that did not watch the game like me and PPS, because that was a tough one.
Bro, but see, that's what I'm happy about. Like, they sent him there. Like, you sent off probably one of the biggest games of the season in the Chiefs and Miami out there. So they gave him one huge one. Might as well next 10 be absolutely garbage. So, but yeah, obviously, the Chargers Lions game was something. Is good. That's going to be obviously one talked about for a while. That was one of the best games I've ever watched in regular season, man. It was for a non-prime time, like a non-720 or Monday Night Football game. That was crazy, man. Obviously, Jahmyr Gibbs popping off again kind of concerned me as a Montgomery owner, just because he only had 12 carries. But yeah, just kind of all over the place on that one.
Yeah, and it's a Monty touchdown better too. That first drive, when I saw Gibbs get that goal line carry, I was like, "Oh boy, what's going on right here? Is the injury report a little worse than we thought?" I'm assuming that's the case. I think Monty will probably work in more and more, but Gibbs was cooking out there. I know those Gibbs fantasy owners finally got that week you were looking for with Monty in the lineup. I know he did it without him, so I'm sure it was good to see those fantasy points actually pop up with him there. So yeah, that was a spectacular game. I know a lot of people cashed Amon-Ra receptions with me. That was my third 2-unit spot of the season so far. Cashed on that one fairly easily. I mean, for 7 catches, it was done in the third quarter right there. Amon-Ra doing Amon-Ra things. And yeah, if you couldn't tell over these last couple weeks, guys, keep betting against the Chargers. It's a great move. They can't stop anyone. They try. They're doing their best, but man, they cannot stop anybody out there.
Yeah, it kind of made me nervous a little bit there. That Keenan Allen was going to go back to Keenan Allen injuries and stuff like that, which I don't see him lasting that much longer, bro. With that, they showed what his shoulder looked like. It's disgusting. Yeah, they're heading up to Green Bay this week. I might be making my way up there for my first game of the season, so we'll be taking a look. So hopefully I can make it up there. That'll be a fun game to watch. A fun game to bet on some props there. But yeah, I wanted to get my ranting of the week. Why do we even have replays, bro? Why we even have replays? Like, when you fuck up that bad, bro, like, where's the repercussions on this stuff? Like, it's crazy. Like, I'm watching this game, right? I'm watching the Packer game, bro, and I'm like, this is the most obvious call ever. Like, it was 2 yards backwards, full 2 yards. Like you could, any way you put it, it was backwards. Immediate recovery, right in the end zone, and like, take my bias out of it. Like, it could be any team. How do you not change it after looking at it on the replay, and then I have to listen to stupid ass Gene Steratore say that it was right? Bro, how much is this man getting paid? If the NFL is going to pay me millions to just lie on TV, I'll fucking do it. I'll do it. I don't care. I don't have integrity on that. That's crazy. Crazy. Criminal, dude.
Have you noticed too? I hate Gene Steratore. I mean, every real football fan.
I'm going to tag him in this video. I'm going to tag him underneath. And I'm going to say, dude, you should not have a fucking job because you're terrible at your job.
Have you noticed, though, that they wait until the official call to make their call? Like, they bullshit when they're asking them. They go, oh, I see it both ways. I see here. And then once they make the final call, once the refs make their call, then Steratore goes, yep, that's exactly what I would have done right there. Spectacular work from the NFL once again. When, like you said, anyone that watched that clip, I mean, oh my God. I mean, insane. Absolutely insane. You'd think that wasn't reviewed. You'd think that was just a regular play. They got up to the line of scrimmage and kept it moving or something, but no. Oh my God. And the funniest thing too is that game was such a good game and nobody watched it. Like, there were so many other games that it just got fucked with the time slot. Because for whatever reason, I had that game on my TV. No clue why.
It was a good game. Yeah, it was a good game.
It was a great game.
It was Pittsburgh. It was out by you because it was a Pittsburgh game. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I think you and me were maybe the only people that watched that game. You know what I mean? Outside of the fans. And it was a good one. But yeah, that call was, oh my God, it was brutal.
I don't understand why you have replays, bro. The only ref that I have is fucking Blandino, bro. That dude will just say it. He doesn't wait till it. Dude, they take him, they call him, and he's like, yeah, this is what I'd say. Yeah. And he just says it, and he doesn't wait, bro. You know? So, I mean, Packers aren't going to make the playoffs or anything, but I'm just saying, like, overall, like, it could have been – I don't even care if it was a fucking Bears game. Like, if it's that obvious, like, how do you not change it? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think the Packers would have won the game anyway. I truly don't think they would have. Like, I'm not saying it, like, was, like, game-altering, but imagine if it's, like, a team fighting for the playoffs, right? Imagine if it's, like – because they ain't doing nothing. Like, you got to have your expectations. Like, I don't have high expectation for it. But, like, could you imagine, like, that's, like, Seattle, bro? You know, like, imagine if that's like Seattle fighting like the Niners, you know, and that same play happens and they're not in the playoffs now because Seattle loses and they get out, you know, something like that. Like, yeah, it's going to come down to one game in a lot of these situations. And man, bro, it's just so tough to watch. Like, you have all this money, billions of dollars, and you can't even make like, it's right there, dude. It literally, they showed it right there. It was one of the worst I've ever seen. And dude, for the love of God, Gene Steratore, please just lose your job, bro. Like, I can't listen to you.
Yeah, he's probably the single most like hated from any like any sharp person or any football fan that I know that does it for work or anything like that has to watch. Every single one hates this guy because it's so clear that he's the phoniest guy in the world. And you give this guy money, he'll say whatever the fuck you want him to because there is no even like objectivity. There's no goal of that, right? It's just, you know, be a puppet up there. So shout out to that. That's why I watch a lot of these broadcasts on mute. You know what I mean? Why I'm hoping we get some more of these gambling broadcasts in the future. Because yeah, these traditional media broadcasts are just brutal right now.
And it sucks because he's usually on the ones like I've seen him on a couple where he's with like Romo or he's with like Greg Olson, and I actually like them. Like, I enjoy listening to those guys talk about football. But biggest takeaway. Oh, I do. Like I said, I mean, you guys can chirp me. I really don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care that they lost. Like, I don't. I go in. I literally bet against them this week, bro. Like, I literally took Najee Harris, like 3 different ways against them. Like, I don't have any. Like, I have no hate on anybody. Like, The only game I want to win is the fucking Bears game. I don't want them to lose to the Bears. Like, I have too many friends down here that are Bears fans. Then we can talk that talk. But right now, I don't care. But biggest thing of the week: sit Derek Carr's ass on the bench. Sit him, bro. Give me some Jameis. That man is a savage. He does exactly the same thing as a Chris Olave fantasy owner in my biggest league. Bro, it's just like Antonio Pierce says to Devontae, oh, we have a good receiver. Maybe we throw him the ball instead of stupid Shaheed on 5-yard turnaround routes, on Taysom Hill, 5-yard curls. Why are you throwing that, bro? Why are we doing that? And he immediately comes in. Olave goes for 90 and a touchdown on one of the best catches of the year, dude. I thought that was one of the craziest catches I've seen. He landed on the other dude's foot and still found a way to get in. I don't get it, man. I don't understand. And I posted it. I don't know if you saw that. I posted. It's weird what happens when you put a quarterback in there who throws the ball 10 yards down the field. And I get all these Saints people responding to me. They're like, yeah. And then I get another one that's like trying to troll me. And he's like, oh my God, crab leg sucks. Because this is like right after he threw he went down the field, scores, and then he waits till he does something bad, which is going to happen. It's Jameis Winston. Yeah. You know something bad is going to happen in there at some point. He throws the pick that gets tipped, right? Gets tipped. And then I get an immediate response from this dude and then I just muted him because he's like, oh my God, this guy sucks. Derek Carr would have never done that. I'm like, yeah, Derek Carr probably would have threw that ball into the ground on a 3rd and 10, and you just throw it in the ground and you're punting anyway. And then Jameis just goes berserk, bro. I love watching him play. Dude, the Saints actually looked like an offense for the first time in a while, and it was just electric. Doing everything, if you're a quarterback's coach telling you not to do, Jameis does it, and he does, and it's just so fun to watch.
Yeah. Oh my God. That 3rd and 3 where he just chucks it 60 yards down the field into double coverage was like the most Jameis play in the world. And then the next possession, I mean, the game's over. It's 28 seconds. But then going down and doing the same thing, the same exact pick, back-to-back possessions. Hilarious. I love Jameis. Jameis is so fun. I mean, you kind of nailed it right there. He gives you the offense, and then, he'll give it right back to the defense on the other side. But anything beats Derek Carr. I mean, you kind of talked about it. I mean, those spread records, he's like a 26% against the spread as a favorite in his career. I mean, that's you. There's no other, that's you. You know what I mean? Your team is the favorite. So the market thinks that your team is good and that you're better than the team. And you only can cover that number 26% of the time. And by the way, Derek Carr's never been a consistent 7-point favorite. We're not talking about Mahomes. We're talking about 2.5, 3, 1. So, yeah, I mean, I was a Derek Carr defender at the beginning of the season. I've had to come to terms that this guy is fucking awful. I didn't think that. I thought he was okay, maybe good at sometimes, clearly bad at other times. But I thought there was enough good to balance out the bad. It is clear that is not the case. And maybe the coaching is so bad that he deserves a little shield from that. But it's been brutal, man.
Dude. The best play that I've ever seen capsulate Jameis Winston was – because they came back, bro. They only lost by 8? They only lost by 8, I think. So they were right in the game. Was Jameis Winston gets out of the pocket, rolls all the way to the left, and is almost out of bounds, turns his hip, throws it entirely across the field, back corner. The safety's closing. I'm like, oh my God, this dude's about to get blown up, or this is about to be a pick. Jameis finds a way to get A.T. Perry, Wake Forest, beast, his first career touchdown. And I'm like, there is no quarterback in the NFL. I don't care who you are, Mahomes, Rodgers. I don't care what your arm strength. No quarterback in their right mind is throwing that ball. And he found a way, probably 70 yards in the air, to throw an 18-yard touchdown pass across the field. It was awesome. Absolutely awesome to watch that, dude. I was like, dude, there's no way that gets there. I'm like, and then touchdown. I'm like, oh my God, dude, that was so fun. That was so fun to just see. It looked like street. It looked like you're playing with your buddies with a Nerf ball at recess, bro. You just run around and then just chuck it to the guy with his hands over here because nobody would throw that ball, so no one's guarding him. Funny, dude. I love Jameis though, bro. I've been talking about Jameis forever, bro. I love him, man.
I agree, man. The 15-minute scramble too before that, just completely out of breath. I've seen Allen, I think, is probably the only other quarterback that's made that throw. And then I've seen Taylor Heineke make that throw for a pick six. That's the only time I've seen it over these last couple of years. I know I've seen Allen do that once, and I remember a specific time where Heineke tried the same exact thing, and it was a fucking pick six. So shout out to Jameis right there. What a beast. Hopefully he starts next week, too. Oh, my God. I mean, as an Olave fantasy owner, Olave season-long ticket holders, please give us Jameis for the rest of the year. We need it, man. We need it bad right now. Let's go.
Yeah, no, that was my one of our future props was my Olave receiving yards, and I'm not feeling great about it. And now if Jameis comes in there, he's going to have 200-yard games with 4 picks, and he's just going to get the ball back right away. Did you have anything? Obviously, I kind of took away that one with Jameis because he's my guy. What you got anything that you want to talk about here quick before we get into recapping and going into our bets for today?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to waste time on the thing everyone is saying. CJ Stroud, obviously a beast, spectacular, got that, it factor that you're looking for in a quarterback. So shout out to the Texans. They're building something great down there. Not a team you can fade anymore, obviously. I was kind of scared to bet on the spread in that game anyway, so I didn't really have a strong lean or anything. But obviously, Texans are here to play. So that was definitely a lot of fun to say. But yeah, beyond that, I don't think I had any huge takeaways. 49ers are back, baby. I don't know why we were sleeping on them. 3-point favorites off of bye was kind of crazy. But yeah, pretty good week overall.
There was one other one I wanted to say. I don't know what happened. Maybe I'll bring that up here in a little bit with my boy Arthur Smith. I don't know if he got sick or something. Maybe he got sick. But I did have to put this in here because I don't want you to forget, because I will bring it up Wednesday as well. Detroit Pistons, baby. Light it up. Give that man the ball, baby. 20 minutes? Did you watch that? Kevin Knox going 20 minutes, bro?
Why would I watch that?
You don't have to watch the game. You can just watch the little game cast thing. It's like Kevin Knox, 3-pointer. Kevin Knox.
I didn't even know he was in the NBA.
Another 3, bro.
I remember you brought up that he was possibly in the NBA on the last show. I didn't even know he was on a team. So I was obviously not watching whatever Pistons garbage time bullshit that you tagged.
No, he didn't play garbage time. That's the worst part. They gave him full starter run because the dude couldn't miss, bro. 6 for 6 from the field, 20 points. It was like 4 for 4 from 3. My favorite part of the whole thing, he was leading their team in points and played 19 minutes. Misses his first shot, and then they pull him. Beef Stew just goes on a fucking rampage. Beef Stew's a man, though. Had to get that in. I will bring it up again on Wednesday just because Kevin Knox is a savage. Just shooting threes, bro. God, I love that. Shout out Pistons, baby. Fun team to watch, for sure. Stu, let's recap here. It's not the greatest straight bet week for us as a group, but obviously the long shot came through. We should have hit both of them. Another one where I'm going to be mad about it, but let's get through this. My 1.5 Baker completions. What did Tennessee do this week? That Tampa Bay secondary's god awful. God awful. Will Levis did nothing. D-Hop was chalk in some of my contests. He did nothing. Derrick Henry with sub-3 fantasy points. My God, what a performance. I don't know if it's a good performance by Tampa Bay or a bad by Tennessee, but Baker was at 17 through 3 quarters, and we didn't even get a chance there. I thought they would put up a little bit more of a fight. Did you pay attention to that game at all?
Yeah, because I had Kyle Phillips in it. It was just too slow, I think. I think that was the biggest problem here is that the pace was just too slow. Like you kind of mentioned, Levis finally had a bit of a rookie regression game, that we thought coming first pick out there, obviously. But yeah, it was just kind of an ugly game overall. I mean, I didn't watch it too close. I'll have to look over again. I saw a shit ton of Mike Evans drops that made its way to my timeline. But beyond that, yeah, and the Titans couldn't stop Rachaad White. I saw he cashed my receiving yards once again. So shout out Rachaad White. He just keeps on getting it done.
Bro, Rachaad White carrying my best ball, continuing to put up 15, 17. And I told you I did a no running back draft till the 6th round in my big league this year, 12 team. Obviously I had Jefferson, my boy TJ Hawkinson, Josh Allen, Olave. I loaded up on receivers. And then I had my first running back taken was 6th round, Rachaad White, and Javonte Williams right behind him, who we're going to talk about here in a little bit. Just terrible to start the year, man.
Yeah.
I was just saying, Jay Jetta, go out there, put up a 30-piece, and we're gonna be fine. And now we're seeing what I was cooking, bro. I was sitting there preseason like, damn, man, give me 10 a week. Then they're giving me like 3 a week, and then they're like, oh, Sean Payton, give my boy the ball, baby. I love it, dude. Rashad White even breaking long runs now, dude. Long reception runs like Brian Robinson and Kenneth Walker. Who would have guessed that those two would be the guys getting the receptions? They're like, they literally have specific receiving guys, and now they just, okay, we're good. We're going to throw a ball to these guys. It was crazy. I'll let you talk about that in a little bit, but let's get through our recap.
Yeah, no, we're already 20 minutes in. We got to steam through a little faster. You're at Ingram 5.5, just complete game script. Got fucked in this one. I mean, normally blowouts are good for the passing, but it was so bad that there wasn't even enough volume to sustain everyone, unfortunately. So loved Ingram, but didn't get the job done.
Yeah, shout out my boy Bijan. Shout out Arthur Smith for wanting to keep his job, right? For not being as dumb as we expected him to be. Man. Should have had 130, but his foot stepped out of bounds. Run down there for 50. I know a lot of guys, we talked about the 100-yard one in here a little bit. But, I ended up – dude, I couldn't believe it, bro. 50s. And then they gave him 22 carries. Like, I wonder after their bye what they put his line at, because it's like, do you trust Arthur Smith to do it again, or are you going to – he's going to use him as a decoy? Because this is the hardest, in my opinion – this was at the low end. Like, he can hit this at the low end with his carries. But what do you put this line at, man, when he gets back off the bye? Like, I don't know. Because, like, you give him 22 carries, you give him 20 rushes, this dude's hitting 100. But if it goes back to what it was, I mean, you're giving me an 80 line. I bet the under, I'm going to win by 40 yards.
Yeah, let me check who they're playing just so I can even guess right here, because that's a good question. Let's see.
And then I'll just recap here. We had Joshua Dobbs. I think he had 2 11-yard carries in the game. It was brutal, absolutely brutal. But luckily for us, if you guys been watching here while Stu's still looking that up, dogs of the week continue to cash. Vikings outright, Browns outright. Another round of sweeps on dogs. We gotta just make those damn plays, man, for the show here. Going to our long shots. You obviously cashing the big plus 500. 2.5 units saved our week to keep us close here. And Tomlin, let Najee ice this game, bro. Let him ice that game, man. Big back, let him run it out. They end up giving it to Jalen Warren. We lose by 9 yards. Disgusting. Exactly what I thought with the Packers, right? They're not going to have anybody competing with that. But I thought Najee get a little bit more dump downs. Only had 2 catches. Ended up getting 12 yards. Ended up cashing his receiving prop if you wanted to bet on that. Talked about that a little bit here. But huge gaping holes in that defense for the Packers. Najee was, 460, almost 5-1, getting it that close to the end. I thought he had it after he had a 20-yard run. I texted you. I'm like, oh, man, it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight. Jalen Warren and him just going back and forth. Both fantasy viable running backs at this point. But end up getting there. Obviously, the number doesn't look good, but the long shot kept us close. Still close to 5 units profit. Stu, anything you want to talk about here before we get into it?
Yeah, I mean, shout out Jake Ferguson for paying my bills over these last couple of weeks. I mean, the guy's consistently top 5 in red zone targets every week, and they still price him at like plus 200. Like, I know he's like a random tight end, but if you just took his face and replaced it with Dalton Schultz's face from last year, he'd be like 140, because we all know who just Dalton Schultz is, and we all bet on him last year. But since it's a new guy, you get him at 220 every week. So shout out Jake Ferguson, cashing the tickets with those red zone targets. And yeah, they're playing the Saints. So Saints, pretty solid rush defense, but has been trending downwards this year. Started really strong, giving up. If I had to guess right now on the record what his rush yards will be, that's really tough. I'm going to go 67.5. That's going to be my guess.
I was going to say like 74, 73.5, 74.
So do you think it starts where I'm at, and then once 80 million people put it out, then it moves up to 74 kind of thing? Or do you not
think it starts 74 and ends up going down? I think people start betting it down.
I think the awful buy with the rookie narrative used to be kind of almost an edge in betting, where the public doesn't care about that as much, but it's a proven thing. It's a known thing now. I think that's going to be the first sentence of everyone's Twitter write-up next week is going to be Bijan's going to be more involved after a bye. You know what I mean? Because that's that kind of thing that's just so easy to say that's very substanceless, right? You don't actually have to have any real analysis. You just say a buzzword right there. That's what I'm concerned about. I think you're going to see that at the start of every analysis, and I think that's why people will bet him. But who knows how many touches he's going to get? That makes it so hard because it's game script at the end of the day. And the good thing is we assume the Saints aren't going to ever be like leading by enough that they have to throw in this game. So,
yeah, bro, I don't know. This is my first time drinking these in a long time. You ever have one of these?
I have, yes.
Dude. Fucking fire, dude. These are so good. Hey, Ice, if you're watching the show, we're not even sponsored by none of that, but that shit's good, man. I had the cherry limeade yesterday for the first time, bro, and it tasted like a drink I had in college too much, like an alcoholic beverage. And I'm like, damn, dude, I can't do this, bro. Like I'm eating dinner and I'm drinking this. I'm like, I am not 18, blacking out on this shit. I need to get this out of here. So now I switched over to just drinking these. I'm like, okay, we'll go with a lemonade, bro. I had to get that in because that shit is so good, man. That's the first time I had it on stream. I'm like, damn, that's good, man. We can do that. Dude, hey, I didn't say it. Gerardo said it. I didn't say it, man, but it's damn close. That shit's so good.
You guys, I'm gonna have to get that flavor now. You're gonna see me with it next week here.
So the lemonade, dude. Don't do the cherry limeade, bro. That shit literally tastes like a kitty cocktail with a shit ton of rum in there. It has that taste to me. Maybe I'm just scarred from my college drinking days.
I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. I think a lot of people know what you mean right there. You get a little bit of a PTSD flashback. You feel a little something in the back of your throat. You remember a time that didn't smell so good. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
All right, let's take a look at the chat, guys. We got 46 of you guys in here live. Let's get to this Monday Night Football game. Obviously, we got to get there. Kincaid doesn't get 50 yards tonight. My wife's boyfriend is going to kill me. Oh, my God. It was a tough weekend. A lot of favorites went down. A lot of dogs came through. Obviously, we got the dog picks coming through there as well. Yeah, dude, that might be a thing, dude. If they keep playing that man, you might as well go back Chris Olave because that boy's about to get targeted, man. He had like 9 targets from him in that game. B-Rob with 250-yard catches in that one. We got Plus Money Bob in here. It's always the dogs, baby. Hey, we love it. Steve in here as well. Now let's get to today's game. We have a pretty good game. In my opinion, Denver's playing well, man. They're playing significantly better than the laughing stock of the league to start the year. Denver heading into Buffalo tonight. Looking at the lines, FanDuel right now is giving me a 7 points to the Broncos, plus 7, 47.5 total, a little juice to the under. Stu, what again, we're going to go 4 sides of this. Obviously, you got dogs. You got the favorite over or the under. Any of those stick out to you? If you, like I said, we always say if you have like a gun to your head, you got to pick one. Which one is it going with?
Yeah, for me, that's close. It's the Bills, but I would consider the over as well because, like you said, it's not that I'm not respecting the Broncos right now. I do. I mean, they're playing better than people expect. A lot of people still have that 70-point game, but the defense is getting a little bit healthier as well. They're playing a little bit better. And yeah, Russ has not been that same guy he was last season. So for me, I do think they should be able to keep it a competitive enough game. I think the over is definitely in play right there. But at the end of the day, I just think this is a good buy spot for the Bills in market. I mean, this would have been a 9.5, 10 the other day. This would have been a spot where just a couple of weeks ago, the whole world would have loved the Bills here. Now everyone hates the Bills, right? They've disappointed us. They have no defense. But at the end of the day, I think Josh Allen can do Josh Allen things.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, though, is in this game, if the Denver Broncos are able to score anything, dude, I think that the Buffalo Bills should have no problem moving the ball. We've seen them go and score a decent amount last week with their number 2 receiver not having 1 catch, right? So there's a lot of different things out there. I think I lean the over a little bit, just a little bit. I don't know if I can bet the 7 just because I think by the time we get to I want that 6.5, if anything. Just I want those, you want those nice numbers that ends up on a lot. But yeah, dude, I like what I'm seeing from Denver, bro. I have 4 guys in this in my big fantasy league tonight. Josh Allen, Javonte, Jerry Jeudy, and Kincaid all playing tonight. So I'm heavily invested as a fantasy owner here tonight. I think it's gonna be a great game, and hoping points galore come from this one.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, honestly, I'm pulling it up. You can get if you like the Broncos, you can get a 7.5 right now on DraftKings. It's -118, so that the market is going to adjust to that pretty soon. So if you do like Denver, you can buy that 7.5. But I agree, 47 for the over, I think will probably be a play after we just kind of talked about it. Nothing crazy for me, but I mean, you kind of said it. If Denver can score at all, this will be an over. Well, the Bills' defense is terrible. Like, let's not get that confused, right? It's like this was a top 10 unit at the beginning of the season. Without Matt Milano and without White, this team ranks dead last in coverage rate so far this year without those 2 guys on the field. So we can't cover anyone. And I know Russell Wilson sounds like a terrible name, but he's been solid. Like completion percentage over expectation, top 10 in the NFL so far this year. So it's one of those things that I actually do think Denver can score. I'm just worried. For me, this feels like roughly an 8 to 10 point game. And I'm high on the Bills and I want to buy the Bills. So I understand it's probably not like the sharpest bet in the world, but I like the Bills in this one.
Just crazy to me. We talked about home road spreads, right? If we're at home, that's probably like 2 to 3 points, though. Like, so you're saying like this is gonna be, you go to Denver here. Are we seeing like a 3 to a 5? Like that's what I'm saying. Like what we've been talking about. That's kind of crazy. So I do, like I said, I do lean with the Bills. Obviously they're fantastic at home, but I do think some of these. If this might be one of those games where you can run like those same game parlays, and I think you're going to be a little bit safer in this one than you normally could be in a game where Denver has been in earlier on, where you're not getting anything, you're not getting any resistance there. But Stu, let's get to some picks. We got a lot of questions in here as well. We'll get to all your guys' questions, all your spots there. Let's get it going here. 2 spots for tonight. I love it.
Yeah, no, and I'm proud that we managed to somehow go 30 minutes without talking a pick, and we still got a bunch of you guys in there. Shout out to you. Went a little longer, but hey, it's action time, baby. And we're going right back to my guy, Khalil Shakir, over 35.5 receiving yards. I got to at least say his name right. These guys cashed tickets for me in back-to-back weeks, and I can't freaking pronounce his name. So I think we got it this week right here. We're going -110 over on FanDuel Sportsbook. You're already seeing it up to 36 on DraftKings and then 39 on some of these sharper books. That's the direction I see it heading towards by the end of game time. And as we know, these primetime spots can get steamed pretty fast. For me, this is simply a continued buy spot on the same logic that I've been using to bet on him these last couple weeks, which is this Bills team was number 1 in 12 personnel to start the season. They drafted Kincaid. They had Dawson Knox. We want to go into these 2 tight end sets. We see all these other guys do it. This is going to be our method of offense. This is how we're going to go for the rest of the season. And it was okay. It worked pretty well. It wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't this grand disappointment that I think some people are making it out to be, but things happen and you got to change your offense. And Dawson Knox went down with an injury. They don't have the personnel to run 12 personnel anymore, obviously. Dalton Kincaid isn't a blocker. He's a big wide receiver. And so you're not going to be able to run those same kind of sets you were previously, especially when you only have blocking tight ends to come fill that void. That means we need a lot more 11 personnel. That means we need a lot more 3 wide receiver sets. We've now seen them run more 3 wide receiver sets in back-to-back weeks than they have all season long. Shakir is the obvious beneficiary of that. We know Stephon Diggs is going to do Stephon Diggs things. We know exactly what Gabe Davis is going to do. Running straight down the outside, going for some of those deeper routes. Same kind of 16 A-dot guy we've always known down there. Shakir, to me, is going to be the middle of the field, and that's what I really like to target against the zone-heavy Denver defense, 72% zone on the season. Shakir has an 18% target rate against zone without Dawson Knox on the field so far this season. That's a pretty good freaking number for a guy like Shakir, right? 18% of team targets against zone without Dawson Knox on the field. Dalton Kincaid will be there. He'll be there over the middle. He's super popular today. Obviously, someone mentioned him in chat. His yards are up to like 54 already. To me, watching film, I drafted Dalton Kincaid in best ball. I see the vision. I'm not seeing the production. He doesn't look like George Kittle. He doesn't look like Travis Kelce. He doesn't look like these guys you want him to look like. Looks a little closer to Evan Ingram. Maybe a Hayden Hurst if I'm on a bad day and I didn't get my coffee. Feel like getting a little bit of engagement over on Twitter. To me, I just don't see it, right? I like Dalton Kincaid. I understand why they drafted him. I understand his role. But to me, I really think they've been doing a lot of interesting things with Shakir over the middle. His ADOT was only 2 a couple weeks ago. That's why I played receptions. We're now seeing him run legit downfield routes out of the slot. They're using him in creative stacked formations with Stephon Diggs, who is also running a lot out of the slot as well. We talked about this a little pre-show. I mean, he's the highest slot rates he's had pretty much his whole career so far this season as well. So I like these guys that can attack them over the middle of the field. And I mean, the final thing, this is the Bills team that we love to talk about. Pass rate over expectations. When this team is ahead by 7 or more points, they pass more than any team in football in the Sean McDermott era. That's a great thing. Game script is the ultimate killer. A lot of these receiving props. Having a team that still passes regardless of game script is a huge victory right here. I love Shakir. I love that he's trending upwards. I'm probably not going to buy much higher than 60 or 35, 36. I think this is probably as high as I want to go with this range. But I think the 39, 40 is where it should be at. So as long as we're still getting it about 5 yards of value, I'm going to keep buying on the guy that's made us some cash over these last couple weeks.
Just as a guy that's, we've been doing the show for a while, right? Are you thinking if we had other options here, would you be looking at receptions? Do you think he's going to be heavily involved that way? Are you looking at maybe a longest reception also? You know what I mean? I just like other spots because I know people are going to ask about it. If you like it here, do you think this is on 2 catches, like a 25-yard catch so I can play that longest reception? I'm assuming it's like 15 to 18, I would assume, something like that. Is there something in there? Or are you thinking like this might be a volume-based bet?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I go through all that before I make the bet, so I think this is the most confident version. For me, I'll go through the thought process for a second. I did like receptions initially. I had that as last week's bet, but now we've seen it jump up from 2.5 to 3.5 now. And what I'm noticing is as we have more time in the playbook, these routes aren't just 2-yard gadget routes anymore, which is what I target if they're receptions. They're 14, 15, 16-yard intermediate routes. So for me, I still don't want to quite take that jump to longest reception when I still do like the fact that I believe he'll have a 6-yard catch in this game. A nice little bubble screen, something like that, get him the ball really quickly. I like that. I think there's going to be a good mix of short and intermediate targets. So for me, longest reception, if it was 13.5, if it was 14.5, that would have been a buy, but I'm seeing 16.5 is the lowest spot on FanDuel and then 18.5 for the rest of the market. So if you do like longest reception, I think that FanDuel spot is a very solid play, but I think receiving yards is probably the safest out of everything together. And it's why it's my favorite look out of all of them.
Awesome. Just wanted to get that out there. Obviously I know we usually get questions on that after the fact. I'm going to be combining 2 of my spots today. I'm going to go Stephon Diggs, 6 catches. 6 catches has actually been hit, I believe, in every single game this year. But what I really did like was, Kincaid was the guy, right, last week, right? Kincaid was the guy getting all of those catches, all of those intermediate routes, taking it over, right? Diggs still got here, though, right? He had a 20% target share, the lowest of the season, man, 20.5. Still got here, right? That's what I'm saying. This dude does not need the 13, 14 targets, even though it's nice. He doesn't need that to get here, right? I looked through his numbers, 20% target share last week, 30s the 2 weeks before that, and you're seeing 12, 13 targets. He's still getting 9, right? He's still getting 9 catches, right? Even the New England game, it was tough. Still got to 6, right? Obviously, there's a ton to go around in this offense. Obviously, you talk about their EPA on their pass plays. They throw a lot, and I love it because that means a lot of people can eat, right? I think it's sitting at minus 290 for this number here, but honestly, I think that's low for a number that's hit every single week, a whole season, right? And everybody's betting Kincaid, right? Everybody's going to bet Kincaid. Everybody's going to want to be like, oh, dude, Gabe Davis isn't going to have a dud 2 times in a row. But once you see that 6.5, 7 number on receptions for Diggs, everybody's like, oh, that's pretty high, right? Well, I'll pass on that. He's had a couple down weeks. I'll go right back to it. I'll buy it down. We do this a lot, so you see it land on that hook way too often. So I'm going to take the 6 there. What I do really like about my boy Javonte Williams here is I think they kind of let those training wheels off a little bit, right? They let the training wheels off after that ACL. We saw him come in. He was good, but, he wasn't as explosive as he was in year 1. And I think that now you're going to start seeing that full workload, right? We saw him get 27 carries, bro. 27 carries in that game, right? And then you also look at the last game, Joe Mixon, 37 yards rushing. Bro, I don't care, bro. It's not even close. Joe Mixon doesn't do nothing, right? I'm not worried about looking and comparing Joe Mixon numbers. So you look at that, you're probably getting a little bit of that recency bias. Oh, maybe the Bills can stop the run a little bit. I don't buy into it. What I do like is Javonte Williams has 7 big play rushes, at least 10-yard carries in the last 3 weeks. He's got 7 of them in the last 3 weeks. That's huge. That shows the burst. That shows he can hit that hole quick and run through guys, right? You have Jaleel McLaughlin, who has done great. He does good at his job. But when it comes down to it, where we need those yards, where we need those 3-yard carries, right? We need to slow down this pass rush, right? This pass rush is going to be on him quick, right? And we've seen so many games where Russ is running for his life, right? And now you're going to have Von Miller there. You're going to have all these other dudes that are going to start blitzing. They're going to have a lot of people in his face. Javonte's got to be that guy to carry that load, to be able to slow that pass rush down. I really like Javonte Williams again this week. Again, you look at these last couple weeks, and it's going to show, the Bills have done pretty good against the run. Well, yeah, Rachaad White 2 weeks ago, who ran 9 carries for 39 yards. That's pretty damn efficient for Rachaad White, being over 4 yards a pop. Like, he does not do that very often. He's a very inefficient rusher. Phenomenal fantasy guy. Don't want to get into it. You guys know I'm a huge fan of Rachaad White. I'm not going to get into that. But if we're going to get the volume we've been seeing here, the explosive plays are coming. He's breaking tackles more often now. We're seeing you go back here, we're looking at broken tackles. He's been doing a lot better with that. Great in space. Obviously can run through dudes. I mean, multiple 10-yard runs in 2 of the last 3 games. Dude, I'm all over Javonte Williams today, and just think that they got to establish it. Keep Josh Allen off the field, man. Let's go. I'm ready for Javonte Williams to break off a couple for us.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is one of those spots. I feel like you do this a lot in the show where you just look at it and you're like, why can you bet this? You know what I mean? Like, why can you bet this combination? Because Javonte Williams, these do feel like floor outcomes. And I emphasize that a lot. When I build a same game parlay, I am trying to get 2 guys that can cash this ticket at their absolute floor. Like, that is what I'm trying to do. Because if you like a guy enough, then you, in reality, you probably shouldn't be betting him down that much, right? But when you should is when you can get a number that is a guy's floor. His worst day kind of produces you that kind of outcome. And I mean, Diggs has proven that his worst days are these kind of 6-catch, 56-yard, kind of nothing games. That would obviously be a huge game for a lot of guys. And obviously you didn't go into it too much, but a lot of people are going to talk about Surtain and all the matchup on the outside. Surtain does not shadow. He stays corner right. That is his most, prominent position. He does not follow guys around. And this Broncos team runs zone defense 72% of snaps. So there's going to be opportunity for Diggs to get pretty much wherever he wants on the field, assuming the scheme asks him to do that. And also, look how many catches he had against Sauce Gardner earlier this year. I believe it was double digits, right? I mean, when you have an elite cornerback, right, you're a lot of the thought process, okay, let's get our guy the ball at the line of scrimmage then and let him make a play quickly. So for me, love Diggs right here. Javonte, I want to buy Javonte, but I'm probably not going to bet him today, to be completely honest with everyone out there. I love the talent. I'm with you in best ball there. I mean, so much Javonte. I'm such a big fan of this guy. My big worry is still, at the end of the day, just game script. Like, the one part of this Bills defense that is solid is that interior D-line. They don't have good linebackers behind them anymore, so that is obviously a huge hit right there. But at least the D-line is pretty solid on this team. And if the game script gets away, then I could see a Javonte Williams, 9 for 26 kind of game. But after these last couple weeks, after finally seeing that volume we've been hoping for, I'm really hoping Javonte has another killer game, because like you said, there's really no reason why he shouldn't with the training wheels off now.
Yeah, no, and I kind of thought about that a little bit too. And then I looked at it and I'm like, we saw how bad the Denver Broncos were at the beginning of the year, right? They were absolutely god-awful. And Javonte's hit 40 yards in every single game he's played outside of the Chicago Bear game where he got only 2 carries, right? So where Jaleel took over.
Fair.
So these guys were getting blown the fuck out those first couple weeks. They made the Raiders look good week 1, right? I mean, dude, they got killed. They were talking about taking Sean Payton's job, bro. Like, the Commanders, right? They lost 70-20 in a game. They lost by 50 points. Guess what? Javonte still got 40 yards, baby. 11 for 42, and they got 50 piece. They got beat by 50. So talk about game script. I don't think the Bills dropping 50 on these guys with a new and improved Sean Payton. I don't know what his motivation speech is now, but hey, he's turning it up a little bit. Maybe having a little Red Bull before the game. Maybe getting a little pre-workout going. I don't know what it is, but yelling at these guys, and they're actually stopping people for once. After the 70-point game, obviously going to skew some data, but man, like that's what I've literally thought about. I'm like, this team lost by 50 this year. Like, actually gave up 70 points, and we still have gotten there. So I thought about that, and it's a scary thing to bring up too. But obviously, got hurt in the Chicago game. Didn't play the Jets game. That one would have been a nice one to see what they do with them. But even when they lost to the Chiefs pretty heavily, right, in that first matchup, and then obviously I don't count the Packers' run defense. That thing is ass. So put up 80 on them, and then put up 80 on the Chiefs again, right? But 27 carries is elite workload. Elite workload. So definitely all over it. Obviously, I understand the game script there, but I literally just have if a guy's going to get 40 losing by 50 points, it kind of sat in my head like, oh, I got to roll with that.
No, that's kind of the best possible argument you can give back to what I just said, right? Is that, what I said has happened every game. They've been crushed, and he still got the job done, which is obviously what you look to see, and kind of emphasizes back to the initial point of you want a guy producing on his worst day, right? And we think Javonte can get here on his worst day.
All right, questions. It's question time. Do you have a long shot, Sue, or no? I don't have one right now. So
the only thing is just the Shakir little ladder sprinkle, but nothing crazy at the moment right now. I should have something by game time, but not quite yet.
Awesome. Let's take a look at some questions here and then get you guys out of here. I got carried away with Kevin Knox and Jameis Winston. What do you sue me? Those are my guys. I have to take my opportunities when they're there, right? I don't get a chance to hype up Jameis every week. Even though dude holds that clipboard damn well. Maybe he's ready. I think he's ready, baby. They gave me a combination of Kevin Knox and Jameis Winston on the same day. And then we have a show the next day. I'm happy it didn't go an hour just hyping those guys forever. So I thought I did pretty good at only making it 10, 15 minutes. But all right, Stu. Question from Steve here. One of his plays is Josh Allen. Over 1.5 touchdown passes, going with Kincaid, 3.5 receptions. Are you rolling with anything on Kincaid today? Is he a guy? I know he's gambling Twitter's favorite. He's a darling. Is he a guy that you're looking at tonight to bet on, whether either receptions or yards?
It's just, for me, it's tough. I think it's slightly gone out of my range is kind of the problem here. But I like Kincaid as well. I obviously like the buy down option, getting him at 4 catches. I don't know what the price is, but since I know Allen is around minus 180 to minus 200, then I assume 4 catches is, minus 500 or minus 400. It's not the best price in the world for other pairs, but I like this a lot right here. I almost played Allen passing touchdowns over these last 2 weeks, and I was hoping they'd do the same thing where they keep opening it at minus 140 on some of these spots, and then it just gets bet up to minus 180. But I don't think that happened this week. It looked like it opened around minus 180. But in short, I do like it a lot. I think Allen pass touchdowns is a great look. And Kincaid 4 receptions, another one of those spots that with no knocks, with how this offense is rolling now, he's just open 4 yards from the line of scrimmage on half of these plays. And I don't know if that's necessarily a recipe for winning football, but at the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do. And I definitely think this is a good spot right here.
Yeah, Kincaid 4 catches is minus 380 as a parlay piece.
Okay, that's
5
not that
catches.
bad.
5 catches is minus 186. So, looking at Josh Allen on the passing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns is the minus 188 portion. So it's actually flipped on those. Because I would assume Allen being 2 touchdowns would be a lot higher, but I guess he does run in a lot of them when they're in the red zone as well. So only having the passing and not just the total. Probably does skew it a little bit more there. Capper Taylor, guys in the chat a lot here. We appreciate you tuning in, my friend. Josh Allen under 6.5 rush attempts. I've seen some longest rush on Twitter. I've seen some rushing yards. Haven't seen much from the rush attempts. Is this a spot maybe you're looking at for a guy who, has had injury scares throughout, but he's such a big dude. But he's making big runs in those opportunities. I'm almost worried about Niels, dude, if you're winning, right?
That's actually a really good point right there. Actually, that might be why this line is what it is. Oh, that's a really good point. Niels, because to me, this line has been like 4.5, and then it finally got up to 5.5 last week, and people bet the over, and it got there. But man, I like the under, but now that you said that, that totally just changed my answer. Because you're right. Those, if I like the Bills, which I do, right, and I think they win this game, the kneel downs are a legit possibility. And it's not just one, right? It's 3. You know what I mean? There's no situation where you go out there, or I guess maybe there's some where you kneel once or twice, but you're likely getting them in a stack. You know what I mean? Which isn't just one rush attempt. That's brutal, man. So, I think I would still lean overall under, just because this team, they're not using him in the way that they have been in past years. We saw that change a little bit last week. It's always the question of, do they pull out the kind of A playbook against the Broncos? My normal answer would be no, but you're in a spot where you need to win these games. Like, the Bills are not, we need to win. You guys have one of the toughest schedules in football this year. So if you're not beating the Broncos, you're screwed. So I'm kind of worried that maybe they do tap in to that A playbook, and we do see Allen start to run more, especially on the goal line. So for that reason, I'm just going to completely pass on this bet. I don't have any interest in over or under. Live bet. That's the move right here. See how they're game planning it.
Awesome. Gabe Davis, longest reception. You're speaking our language, my friend. But man, can you do this with how little involvement it's been? It's like, even the game before, he was getting like out routes. He was getting continued peppered with non-deep routes. So it's like 2 weeks in a row. Obviously, last week was zeros. But the week before that, it was like 9. He had like 9 catches, right, for like 89 yards. Like, not the normal Gabe Davis thing. Kind of, I don't know if that was just a weekly thing, but it kind of scares me off a little bit. Because I love betting Gabe Davis longest reception. It's like all reliable for him.
Yeah, man, 18.5 is one of those lines that it's calling your name, right? I mean, we've been betting this at like 23, 24 in past years, even the low 20s at the beginning of the year. I'm not super interested. I mean, the thing is, the Broncos defense playing a little bit better, but the outside corners in particular, right? I mean, you really kind of beat them over the slot a little bit more. It's kind of this Mathis guy, their corner 2 on the outside, is really bad, but I'm worried since Diggs lines up so much in the slot that it actually might be Davis that is seeing a lot of this Surtain matchup on the outside in these deep routes, which is not a good matchup for him. So it's hard for me to say no to this prop. It's just going to be a no bet for me, I think. Like, I want to get there. I want to get there every week. I see it, but it's here for a reason. And kind of like you mentioned, we're seeing a little bit more route development now that we're playing more 11 personnel. We're seeing they can do a little bit more creative things. Shakir is running down the field a little bit more. So Diggs is running down the field a little bit more. And Davis is getting involved in other spots. So probably a pass for me. But no hate. I mean, Davis is a legend around these parts. And I would not fault anyone for taking his longest reception, really, ever. That's the kind of player he is. Those are the kind of tickets he cashes. So really no hate to that at all.
All right, last question. It looks like here we got DeJuice in the chat here. Russ over 21.5 rushing. Obviously, he's been pretty good to this number lately. Obviously, got it against Kansas City. Got hooked in only 1 rush against my Packers. And then you go down the list. Another one against Kansas City, 30 yards. Almost 50 against the Jets. Didn't get it against the Bears, didn't run at all against Miami, and then even to Washington, 60 yards almost. So is this a spot you're looking at all? I didn't even look at Russ passing rushing. I mean, maybe I just take his passing plus rushing, right? I mean, maybe that's the spot for me. I like having that included for a guy who has that upside, but I think he's going to have a pretty successful day through the air.
I kind of agree. Yeah. I mean, I don't hate it, to be honest. But if you look at a lot of these model projections and stuff, they'll all be pretty low on it because the Bills do statistically rank out as a spectacular team against quarterback rushing. But once again, we got to remember, it's different personnel. These are like borderline practice squad guys out there now. So that would make me lean towards the over. And kind of like I mentioned earlier, this Buffalo team isn't really good at anything on defense except getting pressure. They should be able to still get a solid amount of pressure on the quarterback, which should force a couple more scrambles. So if I had to do anything, it would be rushing and passing. I'm not playing rushing solo right here, but I don't mind the upside. Maybe longest rush is something I'm going to be comparing numbers in the market for, because Rush has had some of those big scrambles so far this season, even though it's not a lot of designed runs.
Yeah, he's been fantastic in impromptu spots like that. We got Vital in here. Hey, we appreciate the compliment. We always love seeing you guys in here, guys that we've seen in here before. Joseph, I don't know how much you've been watching the show ever. I hate Samaje here. I hate him. Like he was a backup to the worst running back in football, bro. Like I can't take him. I don't like that his niche is almost right in line with Jaleel McLaughlin, and Jaleel's better.
Yeah, exactly.
And faster and more explosive and has shown better. I don't know what his lines are. They'd have to be so low, bro. They'd have to be so low. And I don't even want to. He might play 4 snaps, bro. Like especially in a prime game, I'm sitting there, my money's on the line. I'm talking, I'm like with somebody, I'm like, I got money on this guy tonight. Where is he? He's in there for 2 plays. And I guess what? I lose because he still hasn't touched the ball. So I can't bet P. Ryan. Stu, speak to him in like a way that doesn't have my extreme bias towards Samaje P. Ryan being awful.
Yeah, well, the thing you said in there that it doesn't matter how biased you are, we have 3 running backs on this team with like the same skill set now. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like Samaje Perine the only back that can catch passes on this team. I think Javonte is a better pass catcher, and I think McLaughlin at this point is probably a better pass catcher, right? Especially after the catch. I'm sure Samaje's more, safe-handed. He doesn't have drops. But
good pass blocker too, and stuff.
Yeah, like exactly. Like the stuff that does matter out there. The thing is, P. Ryan, he has a 100% hit rate on his prop for receiving yard this season. It's crazy. I saw someone posted earlier. He's gone over in every game, and for me, I still don't particularly want to play it. Just the biggest thing here is he's kind of limited to 2-minute drill and 3rd and long situations, right? Because you're not going to get those organic dump offs that high-end receiving backs get because he's not going to be out there for those snaps, right? Those will be Javonte. Those will be a little bit of McLaughlin. So overall, I understand why you're betting the over, but I have all the same feelings about P. Ryan as you do. I'm not a fan at all, especially when everyone was betting this guy's traditional rush yards number last year at the end. I remember that. That was some of the most insane stuff I've ever seen people trick themselves into by citing like 8-year-old college numbers about how he was a workhorse 42 years ago at South Alabama State University. So I don't know what's going on there. I'm still with you. Not really a big P. Ryan backer, 0% in best ball, even though he was going incredibly high for no reason. And hey, even Cash McLaughlin touchdown earlier this year. That's kind of how I view this backfield. So I don't really have much interest, but I understand why you'd be betting it. It sets up well for 3rd and longs. It sets up well for 2-minute drills. Just the snap share isn't that high, and I just don't think he's that good. And we saw it's not like him being that good is just me talking, right? As him being that good, not being that good affects his role, because we just saw Javonte Williams have 22 rushes last week. That's what really matters. If you're not good and no one else is good, that's one thing. If you're not good and you've got a rising star next to you, that's something that matters a little bit. So he's just a pass from me completely.
27 rushes.
27.
Gotta hype him up. I gotta hype. The only reason I remember that is because it was literally double what I saw his rush attempts for today. I'm like, I remember that. It's double what it is. Exactly double. I don't know. I'm excited because he does break off bigger plays. That's why I'm rolling with the rush spots. I mean, if they keep this close, man, I think it'll be good. Yeah,
I can't see. It's hard even as someone that likes the Bills and that doesn't want to play Javonte, it's hard for me to not see him get 13 carries. That feels like a line that is based on confusion, that there's still a chance that he's, only a 40% snaps guy. But that kind of thing doesn't happen by accident. And also, it resulted in their arguably best game of the season where they hung around with a legit contender. So I'm going to get Javonte in my tickets. I don't know if they're going to be public or private yet, but definitely going to have some exposure to Javonte tonight. He's a stud at the end of the day. We both love this guy on the show, so not going to be too hard to get there.
For sure. Yeah, 13.5 is wild to me. All right, Stu. last one here. We'll talk about Jaleel McLaughlin, rushing, receiving, and over 1.5 receptions. Let's take a look at his rushing, receiving numbers here. We have player rushing, receiving. Jaleel McLaughlin, 23.5 rushing, receiving yards. And let's look at receptions. I'm on FanDuel for this, so I don't have a receptions line on here.
I pulled it up right now. 20. I see 23.5 total rushing, receiving on FanDuel, and then 26 everywhere else. And then receptions is 1.5 plus 155. Yeah, plus 150 right there. So, no, it's just no. Like, it's simple as that. Like, there's just not enough volume. I love the guy. He's talented, great story, hard worker, like the kind of guy that you want to root for. But at the end of the day, the volume's just not consistent enough. We got 3 guys. And if it's going to be one of those 3 guys, I'd probably just rather bet on Javonte at the end of the day. I will say, I was hoping I'd come on here and I could give some speech about how we'll all cash McLaughlin again. They're only giving us like 400 is the best price on market. That is the absolute best. A lot of books are in like the 340, 350 range. We got this at like 800 earlier in the week, and it moved to like 1600 in some spots. You know what I mean? Like, it was crazy high. So the fact that we're not getting much value does hurt, but for sentimental reasons, I will at least run back touchdown at 400 and first touchdown, because he has a knack for first touchdown for whatever reason. But for the traditional props where I'd actually have to lay down some serious cash, I just don't have any interest in that.
Perfect. All right, Stu, got through everything. Let's get to our recap here and get these people on their way.
Sounds good. Khalil Shakir, over 35.5 receiving yards, minus 110 over on FanDuel Sportsbook.
I'll be on FanDuel as well. Rolling Stephon Diggs, 6 catches with Javonte, 40 rushing yards over on FanDuel. Sitting at like minus 117, 116 right there. So, really like the spot. Stu, what do you got for the people here today before we head out?
Yeah, I'll have some more NFL action by the end of the day. I told us to BPS before the show. I'm still working on, I want to combine both quarterbacks' passing yards in this game. I think that's a good way to attack it. We didn't talk much about the Broncos' individual weapons in this one, just mostly because I think it's hard to. It's very hard to predict which one of these guys is going to be the one that pops off, whether it's a Judy, whether it's a Mims, who we're all hoping for. I saw a couple comments about that one. I will say, for FOMO reasons, I'm going to get 10, $15 on Mims 50 yards, because I don't want to miss out when everyone else cashes that extremely obvious ticket. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be on the sideline. So I'll get a little sprinkle on that. But overall, I just want a little preface, little sneaky preview of my Twitter later. I will be looking to play these quarterbacks passing yards, because I think that's a good edge on the show. But yeah, appreciate everyone that tunes in to Pass the Prop every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I think we got some great plays out for today. I think we got some great analysis. Make sure to leave a like on the video if you haven't already. It really doesn't mean jack shit to you guys, but it helps us out a lot. The algorithm, for whatever reason, cares a lot about that stupid little like button. So we'd appreciate it if you clicked it, typed a little comment, great stuff, or you guys suck, the Eagles are so good, Monotone doesn't know shit, all that stuff. Any of it works. The algorithm literally doesn't care. You get the dumbest idiots I've ever seen in my life. Thank you for your comments, sir. We'll see you again next weekend. So make sure to leave a like, comment, whatever you feel like getting off your chest. And hey, let's cash some tickets, baby. Let's get it done.
Yeah, I got some close fantasy matchups tonight, so obviously very heavily invested in this game on a personal basis here. Also, really want to make sure you guys take a look. Like I said, we're Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Got a guest set up for Friday, locked in. We're ready to go for that. Just posted my YouTube play of the day. 4-0 start to college basketball season. Hopefully I can get to 5 today and get to 9 straight winners on those. So hopefully we can stay hot and bring that over here, staying hot here on Pass the Prop. We want to get back in those double digits, guys. Obviously, the ups and downs of football season, they go there. You know how they are. They're crazy. That's why we have the units. That's why we're trying to keep it close. Nothing crazy. No 17-unit mega whale lock, whatever stuff. But we're here. Hopefully still cashing these ones pretty easy. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hit that like button on your way out, and we'll see you on Wednesday for another round of Pass the Prop.